Hello there. So there's some new information coming out about this madman that assassinated a Minnesota lawmaker and tried to kill others. And I don't want to not include the spouse of the lawmaker because that's what the news always likes to seem to do. Watch this video clip and we'll be back right afterwards to have a little chat.
Today does mark 1 week since the assassination of a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband and the attack on another state lawmaker and his wife. We're now getting new information from an unsealed affidavit for the suspect, Vance Belter. The FBI explaining early in the investigation that Belter visited the homes of 4 Minnesota lawmakers during his, quote, spree of violence on June 14th. The affidavit, obtained by our Fox 9 Minneapolis team, details how the suspect dressed as a police officer and shot those who answered the door. The documents allege Belter's wife, during a law enforcement interview, explained that she got a text from her husband in a group text thread with their children, explaining, quote, prepare for war, and they, quote, needed to get out of the house and people with guns might be showing up to the house. FBI investigators determined that Belter and his wife were apparently, quote unquote, preppers who prepared for major or catastrophic incidents, and that Belter gave his wife a, quote, bailout plan in the event of an extreme circumstance.
Welcome back. So apparently now the news is coming out and talking about how this guy is a quote unquote prepper. Why do I say it that way? Because I just get this funny feeling whenever I hear the word prepper, because what I think of when people say it is the individuals on YouTube that are making content that are calling themselves preppers, but they're really just hoarders and grifting off the preparedness title. Now, I don't know why the news is now trying to attach this man to preparedness. I think it's kind of odd. I don't think that his endeavor into preparedness actually has anything to do with why he decided to kill lawmakers and other individuals. I think maybe at most, at best, that was just a part of his life. But see, it's really hard to put anything on the name prepper as far as any type of box to put that in, because what does that look like? Well, it depends. Are you a quote unquote prepper content creator on YouTube? Because that is a totally different ball of wax than I would ever imagine preparedness to be. Again, they're pretty much hoarders just grifting off the preparedness name. They often tell you, if you ask them, anything, they'll often say that, well, you can't know everything. Well, you can't know nothing either. You have to have something to offer, right? Nobody can sit here and say that their little garden is going to completely sustain them. That's not going to happen. No one can sit here and say that they won't need help from others. That's just simply not going to be the case. So what do you have to offer them? I had brought up Prepper Now, and this applies to Prepper Now, Prepper Dog, Pinball Preparedness, the Angry Prepper, Canadian Prepper. You just put Prepper in the YouTube search bar and you'll find a plethora of individuals that this applies to. So, Prepper Now had a well that he had to have repaired, and the dumbass paid $3,000 for somebody to come out and repair his well because he was too damn lazy to get off his ass and learn something new. My question was, who are you going to call when everything goes haywire, phone systems are down, there is no internet, there is no electricity? Who are you going to call? Do you have somebody that you're going to be able to reach on amateur radio or your FRS radio or GMRS or what have you? Do you have somebody that you can just pick right out of your head that you can call, oh, this person's going to fix my well? Well, if you don't know how to do it yourself, and your answer to that question is no, I guess you're going to be shit out of luck, aren't you? This is what I am trying to instill into people, okay? And these idiots on YouTube that are creating content, calling themselves preppers, that instead of trying to encourage people to learn, to actually have skills, to actually be an asset to others, they want to shrug that off. Why? Because that's too much work. They want everything easy. Add to the cart, add to the cart, add to the cart. Well, you know what you can't add to the cart? Skills. You can't do that. And you can't add to the cart being an asset to those around you. You know, it takes no effort at all to sit on your ass with a TV remote in your hand. And to be honest, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to learn something new, to try something new. Ever since I started this repair business, I've got a lot of things that I haven't worked on an electric wheelchair before. Guess what? I have now. But see, I have been working at fixing things and repairing things all of my life. The skills that I have, I didn't learn overnight. That took years, and it took a lot of focus, it took a lot of work, it took a lot of motivation. But it's going to pay off, because I do firmly believe things are going to go south. And when they do, that person that I keep asking, who you going to call when this happens, who you going to get on the radio, I'm that guy. And I'm not trying to stick my chest out and be all egotistical or anything like that. There's nothing egotistical about it. That is who I am. That is what I do. My entire life it was important to me to be an asset, whether it be at a company that I'm working at or whether it be with the loved ones I live with. It's important. So they call this guy a prepper. Well, I don't know that much about his preparedness lifestyle. But I do know one thing. Folks better not pay attention to these YouTube content creators as far as their mindsets are concerned. No, you can't know everything. Absolutely not. I don't know everything. I'm not going to try to know everything. There's whole areas that I know very little to nothing about. Construction? Nah, I don't know much about construction. My medical knowledge and skills are pretty limited. There's a lot of areas that I don't know. But the tangible, important areas, and construction is one of those, don't get me wrong, but how to do electrical work, how to do basic electronics work, how to do automotive work, small engines work. All that kind of stuff is going to be important. And those wells, well, yeah, I know how to do that too. I can do plumbing. I can do house electrical. I can work with the electrical on an electric wheelchair. I mean, it is what it is. I really hope folks are taking it serious. A lot more serious than these content creators. Because I don't know how much longer we have to be able to have these chats. And I don't say that out of fear-mongering or anything else, but if you haven't been paying attention, things are getting awful stupid out there. Whether it's domestically with dumbasses like this, or whether it's the situation with Israel and Iran, things are getting a little shaky. My advice is to make every single day count. And you know what? It's a great day to learn something new. Shalom.